They say on the internet that in order to get that thing out, you've got to dismount and strip this bike down from here all the way back. And I'm going to try to avoid that. That opening right here is almost the width of that U-joint, but not quite. I already tried it once to get it out that way. It won't go out like that. So what I'm going to try to do is to see if I can get enough space between there and there, that back of the transmission in there, to pull that out. So in order to do that, I'm going to have to take that final drive off. Okay, I've done this before, and it's possible to do all that without stripping the bike completely down in the back. Now, this is not, I don't think this is standard exhaust on this bike. I don't know. I did not change it, but I bought it used. They say on the internet that you can remove the rear end back there, the rear tire and stuff, without dropping the exhaust in order to get that bolt out. But on this bike, I can't do it. Like I say, I don't think that's original exhaust. And so what I had to do to get this bike, I've already done that, is to drop the exhaust. I have to drop the exhaust. Take this one bolt out that holds the exhaust right here. And then these two bolts back right up here, you loosen those up. So loosen those up and completely remove that bolt, and then your exhaust will drop. See? So first thing I'm going to do, this is the lower shock bolt on the shock absorber on the rear tire. It's on the right side of the bike. I'm going to remove that bolt right there. Right there on front of your final drive, where the drive shaft goes in to the final drive. I got 4 nuts there. Okay, I'm going to remove those. Now, it's a little tight, but you can get to them. I'll be hitting these 2 off from the upper plate here. I'll be using a smaller wrench, a little bit of muscle power. Be using that right there. It's not that big. To get those off, and then I'll be going under the bike and removing the other 2. There they are, from under the bike. So, as you can see, those 4 bolts are now off. That only takes a couple minutes to do. I think it was about 4 minutes to get those off of there with my little wrench and a little bit of muzzle power in there. By the way, this bolt to the lower shock and those 4 bolts there are 12mm bolts. So, next thing I'm going to want to do is that bolt right there. Take that off. So, okay, that bolt is off. Yeah, by the way, that bolt is a 27mm bolt. So, the next thing I want to do, now I'm on the left side of the tire. There's the bolt that I want to get out of there. Next thing I want to do, that bolt is clamped in there, right there with that bolt. So I'm just going to loosen that up. And I'm just going to take a heavy screwdriver and just open that, just a hairline, just so it'll just break its grip on that. Just a hairline, don't do it much. Then we can take out that bolt, and that is also a 12mm. So I've got that bolt loosened up there a bit. And if that'll move already, then you don't even need to do this. If it doesn't, you just take your screwdriver, it's a little bit heavier screwdriver, put it right there in that wedge, and just open it up just a little bit, just so you can barely see it move, just to get the bite off of it. Check it out. If you got enough loose in there to get your axle bolt out there, that's a 17 millimeter, and you can feel and you see she's pretty loose in there. Okay, now next thing is to get that bolt out. As you can see with my pipe, you see normally they're sitting like that. Now I'm smack right behind that bolt. I could not get it out. As they say, you normally can. I had to drop my pipes, and even with them dropped, you can see that that bolt is still a little bit behind there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you my rig here. Is I'm gonna raise that tire with this rascal I built right here. It's a big block of wood, goes a bit higher than the tire is sitting, so it's going to pick up the tire, take the weight off of that bolt. At the same time, I want to get up above that exhaust system right there. So what I'm going to be doing here, I'm just going to take me a hammer and beat on the back of that. It's a good idea when you do that to, this is another rig I made up here. But it's a good idea to activate that front brake, because I'm sitting on my middle stand, and if I push that bike too far forward there, she's gonna go down. I'm gonna activate, just for safety purposes, I'm gonna activate that front brake. I just did that to protect my grip with a piece of wood here, and I got a cable fastener right here, and I'm just pulling that cable fastener tight. Okay, got my wood here so that my front brake is activated. Also, under the front tire, I got a wedge. I'm putting it under there, also to keep that bike from going forwards and disengaging the center stand. So, as you can see, I got my block of wood up in that tire. I got it raised up there a bit. And now, I've got pressure that's still going to my swing arm from the shock on the left side. I got a simple way to take care of that, to make that bolt in there pretty loose so I can get it out of there nice and easy and everything stays in line the way I want it to stay. What I did is I cut me off a piece of wood. I measured from here down to there to get my distance to the ground, added just a couple of millimeters, cut her out, and then tapped her up and under there. So now the tire is basically sitting on that block of wood, and the swing arm is sitting on that block of wood. Now I should be able to easily tap that bolt out. As you can see, I've got her coming out the other side right there. Now, if you're feeling a little bit too much pressure in tapping that bolt out or pushing it out, all you got to do is to adjust this distance right here to take the pressure off that bolt up there. Okay, so you might want to take your hammer. I did it on the other side, of course, I got more room. Tap that out on this way to lower the tire just a couple millimeters, or tap it in the other way to raise that tire a couple millimeters until you got your pressure off your bolt. Like I said, right here you got your swing arm stabilized, so it's not going to move with the tire. You can make your adjustment to get that to pull that bolt out nice and easy right there. So watch this. That's the way she comes out. You notice the tire didn't even move. Next thing is also right at this point to have pressure off of everything to get this off. You want to get that spacer out of there. I still don't suggest you put your fingers in between there, because there's some pressure in there. You might get your finger clamped in there. Okay, so you want to get that spacer out. Just remember that that side of that spacer goes toward the tire. So that tire is disengaged. Now you notice here, I did not have to do anything on that shock on that side. I'm not going to remove the tire. I'm going to leave it in there. The shock's still mounted. All my brake assembly is still mounted. And I'm going to go over here to the other side. And I'm going to remove that final drive now. This is all in line right here. And it's in a fixed position. This is your drivetrain. You got your final drive here going into your drive shaft. And that's going into the other side of the swing arm. And your drive shaft goes through that swing arm. So situation right here is that we need space right here to get that out of there so we can pull it out toward the camera this way. Okay, so we've got that spacer on the other side. That spacer has been removed, so I can move my tire about that much that away. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. So, okay, that is done. As you can see, I've got some space right there. By the way, this board that's holding the tire up there, you do need to get that, take it back away. All right, so your tire is sitting there freely to do that. Got it pretty much loose right here. And it might be almost disengaged. You see there, it's almost disengaged, but not quite enough. But anyhow, this tire now, the brake line's still on, but you still got some, that's flexible, okay? And you're not putting no pressure on that brake line. Don't worry about it. Is you can move that tire back there's a little ways with that right there. But messing around back here is a big hassle. And what I do is I take my big screwdriver again, and I go up front here to the front of the whole system where it goes into the transmission. And this right here slides back and forth. So I just go in there. Put my screwdriver right there on the back of that. And just give it a little push. You can see it's already moving back there. And just push it back there enough. Set those bolts are cleared. Okay, now you've got the free play that you need to remove that final drive. So there she is. Those of you who don't know it, I can pull this out right here. It just pulls out. You can see your teeth in there. I already know that they're all okay because I had it out the other day. And there's the other side. So that's a way you can inspect the gearing there and stuff, okay, to see if it's messed up or anything. So far, to get that out to this point, I've been on this bike about 40 minutes. For those of you interested, if you got this gear, my gear was worn out, okay? If you need to replace that, all you gotta do is just pull it out. Yeah, I'm not gonna do that right now. But if you need to, you can take yourself 2 screwdrivers. Don't put much pressure, you'll crack these edges right here. But you can just put a little bit of pressure on this side and the other side and give you assistance, okay? Especially if it's been sitting a while, it might sit just a little bit tight. But those bolts do not hold it on. They just got posts on the back and goes into some rubber bushings back there. At any rate, all you gotta do is just pull her out. Just remember that right there, that housing around there is not that strong, and you probably don't want to chip it off. No big deal if you do, but it's going to make it easier for dirt to get in there. So there we are from the back side. Everything's out. Down there and into that pipe is a universal joint, and that is the baby that I need to get out of there. And now I'm going blind. I'm going to have to, what I'm going to do to try to save some work and getting that one out. So back here between the transmission and my U joint, it's laying in there. See a little rascal right there? That's it right there. I'm just gonna push this a little bit back in there, and I got a little bit of an opening in there, and I'm gonna see if I can get that rubber boot completely out of my way here. So, yeah. Anyhow, I don't know why the engineers build something like that. You know, they could have just made that so that you got a little bit more room so you could pull that universal out without removing the swing arm or the engine, whichever route you want to go. I hear that most of them will remove the swing arm. But like I say, I'm going to take a look here and see what I can do to make some room. Hey, look at there. I got her out. All I had to do is on the swing arm, I took out this bolt. Didn't take long at all. Took out that bolt. So then I had some flexibility here. Okay, didn't even have to do anything on the other side. It's still in there. It's got that much flexibility. Now I just took so I could hold my leverage and work with one hand, work with my hands on that. Taped up my pry bar here, my crowbar, because I hate putting any scratches in this, even if it's under here, in this beautiful old antique motorcycle here. So I just put that under there, just picked her up just a little bit, and from that point right there, I was able to work her out right there. You have to turn and twist this a little bit, but with her up there like that, she'll come out. And she'll come out and the new one will go back in.